Hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination. News, newsmakers, talking points. This Tuesday night, this is where you'll get all the day's top stories, and we have plenty on the show today. Remember, Nepal is on the boil. Is this a revolution or is this anarchy? We'll have fine voices from Kathmandu and the national capital here joining us. Also, we'll look at the other big question. What next? Army rule, interim government or polls? And we'll tell you just who is the next Vice President of India. C.P. Radhakrishnan has won in a canter. All that and much more on the news today. Let's turn to the story though that's breaking at the moment. C.P. Radhakrishnan has been elected as the Vice President of the country. That's right, the NDA candidate has got 452 votes. The opposition candidate Sudarshan Reddy has got 300 votes. Remember, Jairam Ramesh of the Congress had claimed 315 opposition MPs voted. 767 votes were cast. 15 votes were held invalid. Now, who were the invalid votes is key to whether there was cross-voting or not. NDA's Radhakrishnan therefore has got 60% of valid votes. This is less than what Rajdeep Sardesai had polled in 2022 when he polled 74% of the votes. But the NDA flock has held together. The opposition claims that it has held together, but there will be question marks. Aishwarya Paliwal joins me with the very latest. Aishwarya, we are told that in a short while from now, Prime Minister Modi will be visiting C.P. Radhakrishnan to congratulate him. But just make sense of the numbers. NDA's flock stood together. Opposition, by and large, stood together. But there is still a question mark over those 15 invalid votes.
Well, a big question mark, Rajdeep, because, Jairam Ramesh in his own tweet has said that what the opposition was expecting, and on the basis of this number, they said that they have the moral victory, 315. They got 300, which means minus 15. The NDA on the other side has got more than what they were expecting. They were expecting 427. They have got 452. So, which means that obviously there are people who promised they will vote on one side, but they have promised, but they have actually voted on the other side. We will now have to wait and watch. But at the moment, there is radio silence with regards to those 15 invalid votes. Are these votes that were being done by the opposition? That's the big question. But an entire workshop was being held on both the sides. So it seems like if this really is a question of those 15 votes, were all these votes from the opposition camp, and did vote chori actually happen? That's also a big question, Rajdeep, which is being asked. Prime Minister Modi about to visit Prahlad Joshi's residence in about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we will have a big celebration planned by the NDA at Prahlad Joshi's house. Rajdeep.
Okay, we'll wait and see for those pictures when they come from Prahlad Joshi's residence. But Aishwarya Paliwal giving us the big news that C.P. Radhakrishnan, two-time MP from Tamil Nadu, veteran of the BJP, someone very close to the RSS, and someone who's been governor in states like Maharashtra, in Telangana and in Jharkhand, will be the new Vice President of the country, replacing Rajdeep Sardesai, who, remember, resigned unexpectedly in July when the monsoon session of Parliament began. From there, let's turn to the other big story that we are breaking at the moment. Nepal's Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli has quit on yet another dramatic day in the Himalayan country. Former Prime Minister Jalanath Khanal's wife has been burnt alive. That's right, that's the nature of the violence and arson that has taken place in Kathmandu in the last 24 hours. Parliament building in Kathmandu has been set on fire. Kathmandu's Mayor Balen Shah is saying talks now only after Parliament is dissolved. United Nations has called for peace in Nepal. India watching the situation closely. Joining me now is Amit Bhardwaj on ground zero in Kathmandu. Amit, has there been any de-escalation in the violence, or is there still violent mobs on the streets of Kathmandu?
Rajdeep, for the past 15 minutes, I can certainly say that the tempers are going down. Don't know whether that is because of it's already late in the night out here, or the messaging that has come from the army chief of Nepal as well. The army chief has very clearly said that peace and security needs to be reinstated in the state of Nepal, as well as he's also speaking as to how there should not be damage to the property and public property, to be very specific. So that message could be now going down, trickling down. The Gen Z protesters who have been on march since morning. I was there 7 in the morning, Rajdeep, in front of the parliament, and there was hardly a dozen of armed personnel who were protecting the parliament building. And you had the numbers only increasing as far as the Gen Z protesters were concerned. There was an attempt to get hold of the security of the parliament building by 8:30, 9:30. We can certainly say that the Gen Z protesters were pushed away. And from there, what we saw, arson, vandalism, things being set on fire all across. I've literally walked to almost every possible corner of the city where the political establishment and power is. And by the end of the evening, we could see the Kathmandu Valley police station, one of the biggest police station in the city, being set on fire, let alone the Singh Darbar, which is the center of power, on fire as well. Back to you.
Amit Bhardwaj joining us there from Kathmandu. Remember, there is still a question mark of whether the army will take over or allow an interim government and then fresh elections. Those are still questions that are pending. Just to give you a sense of what's happened in the last 24 hours as a country is pushed to the brink. Protesters, thousands of them young people being described as Nepal's Gen Z generation, hitting the streets. It began yesterday and it carried on today with no let-up, setting part of that parliament building on fire, attacking the residences of top political leaders, even the wife of a former prime minister being set ablaze. How have events unfolded in such a dramatic manner in the Himalayan kingdom? It's our top story.
Nepal on the brink. Parliament set on fire. The Supreme Court attacked. Homes of top political leaders, including KP Sharma Oli, targeted. A former Prime Minister, Jhalanath Khanal's wife, Rajya Lakshma Chitrakar, succumbs to burn injuries after their house is torched. Former Prime Minister Sher Bahadur Deoba is rescued by army personnel. Finance Minister Vishnu Paudel chased and assaulted. These images tell the story of the two-day Gen Z revolution in the Himalayan nation. KP Sharma Oli stepped down as Prime Minister, but nothing could douse the fire. Protests against corruption and Nepo kids, sons and daughters of leaders flaunting their wealth on social media, had spiraled out of control on Monday after a ban on the popular digital platforms. While the ban on social media was lifted the same day, the agitation by then had gone viral across the country, plunging Nepal into chaos, with thousands taking over the seats of power in Kathmandu on Tuesday.
As a mobile Nepali sunsa. I can talk in English, I can talk in Nepali, whatever. Everyone listen. Chhatima goli khako chu. Chhatima. यहाँ पनि गोली खाएको छु मेरो चस्मा फुट्यो I give this मैले proper documentation बनाएको छु यो मेरो रगत हो नेपालीको रगत हो नेताहरूले बोलाएका छन् right.
Suddenly people have started to run. We do not know what is happening, but this is certainly a stampede-like situation, and the crowd that is coming from the Singh Darbar area, where the Ministry of Nepal, different government offices are located. So this is the traffic post which has been tumbled upon, and all of that traffic post which were broken down by the protesters are being set on fire.
The protests were followed by celebrations and looting. The army is in charge, but are they in control? The government machinery appears to have collapsed. Kathmandu Mayor Balendra Shah has emerged as a key player. The former rapper, popular among protesters, has called for calm. Will the Gen Z revolution end here? No one has the answers yet. With Pankaj Das, Rohit Singh and Amit Bhardwaj reporting from Nepal, Bureau Report, India Today.
Let's raise the big questions on that big story. Is democracy once again on the brink, in danger in Nepal? Are the protests organic or are they orchestrated? Is this revolution or is this anarchy? Army rule, interim government or elections now? Nepal staring at prolonged uncertainty, and how will that affect India? Joining me now, three very special guests, joined by Rakesh Sood, former Indian ambassador to Nepal, someone who knows that country very well. Joined by Amitabh Battu, Dean and Professor, School of International Studies at JNU. Yuvraj Ghimire, journalist and writer who's been based in Kathmandu for years, but is at the moment in the national capital. I appreciate all three of you joining us. I want to come to you, Yuvraj, first. Okay, we'll come to Yuvraj in a moment, but let me go to Rakesh Sood for your first remarks. Rakesh Sood, how are you seeing this situation unfolding in Nepal? We could see the 10th government there in 11 years. Is this surprising, or is chronic instability now built into Nepal?
Thank you, Rajdeep. And I can say that having spent 3 years of my career in Nepal, I feel very sad when I see this. But the fact is that since 2008, since 2008 when monarchy was abolished, and we had the first Constituent Assembly creating a new constitution for Nepal, since then we've had 15 prime ministers. So that's 17 years, 15 prime ministers. If we look at the constitution, which was adopted in 2015, 10 years ago, since 2015, we've had 9 governments, which means in the last 10 years, we've only had 9 governments. And the prime ministers has been a game of musical chairs. It's been the same people. It's been the Maoist leader Prachand. It's been Krishna Prasad Sharma Oli, the UML leader who is now resigned and has been asked to continue as caretaker, and it's been Sher Bahadur Deoba. And I think what we are seeing is not just a rejection of Oli and Oli's government. What we are seeing is a rejection of that particular class of political leadership which have prevented, including in their own political parties, youngsters to come up. Which is why people are looking towards Balen Shah, who's a young mayor of Kathmandu. Balen Shah is a former rapper in his 30s, goes around 24/7 with dark glasses, black trousers. But Balen Shah also, by the way, kept his peace. And it is only now, when the violence is getting out of control, that Balen Shah is trying to claim leadership of this movement. There was somebody else, by the way, I just saw Rabi Lamichhane, who was a former TV personality. And Rabi Lamichhane joined the government as deputy prime minister, got caught in a corruption scandal, was in jail. And just a couple of hours ago, his supporters went to the jail, got him released, because the jail authorities said we can't ensure peace and security in the jail. So he's now gone home. Now, so there is a populism that has taken hold. And I think you know as well as I do that when populism takes hold and there is no leadership, there is no control, we don't know how this is going to unfold.
Let me for a moment bring in also Amitabh Battu, who's just written a column on what's happening there. Amitabh Battu, you've drawn a parallel possibly between what we saw in Bangladesh a year ago and what we are now seeing in Nepal. Youth protesters hitting the streets, challenging what they see is an aging, decrepit, corrupt leadership, and demanding answers to key issues like joblessness and misgovernance. Is that how you see Nepal at the moment? That this is a unique protest even compared to previous unrest. This is a protest primarily driven by the youth against corruption and misgovernance and joblessness.
Rajdeep, the first parallel between Bangladesh and Nepal is that sadly, despite all the expertise in the Ministry of External Affairs, we had no anticipation that these events were going to unfold. Bangladesh happened behind our back. No one that I know of spoke about what was going to be the biggest uprising in Nepal since living memory, really. Never have you seen young people on the streets of Nepal violently protesting against the ruling regime, catalyzed by a ban, short-sighted ban on social media applications, and every district of Nepal is today impacted. The second parallel is, of course, the easy way to build a conspiracy theory that there are other elements, as you pointed out, who might be fishing in these troubled waters. That may or may not be the point. It may be the case in this case. The important thing is, why did this happen? First of all, you recognize that Nepal's biggest source of its GDP is remittances from abroad. Nearly a quarter of Nepal's GDP is based on people who have left Nepal sending money abroad. So what's happening is there's an exodus of young people, and those who have stayed back are on the streets. It's a completely dysfunctional economy, a dysfunctional polity. Young people who could be the demographic dividend are suddenly become the demographic nightmare because they see a system which has betrayed them, a political regime which inspires no confidence. And if there is a parallel, is that, and I hope that's not a parallel, is that India has to be extremely cautious about how it approaches Nepal. Remember, the street protests in Bangladesh quickly turned into an anti-India vehicle. In Nepal, our ties are much more proximate in every sense of the word: civilizational, cultural, open borders, shared rivers. It's important that we engage without being patronizing, that we engage all actors, especially the young people of Nepal, and that we do so in a manner in which we respect the sensitivities of the people of Nepal. I think it's important for Nepal to understand that India is a benign neighbor which will only help to try and stabilize Nepal. I think finally, Rajdeep, I think the most important point is that despite the chaos and anarchy, the Nepalese army, which used to be the Royal Nepalese Army or the Gorkhali Army, is today still unified as a force. And you have had the Chief of the Army Staff come out clearly against the violence and the anarchy on the streets. I have great faith in the Nepali army. I think it is a force which can still manage to inject a modicum of stability even while things seem lost on the ground.
I just want to throw a number which I think viewers need to understand. More than 4 lakh departures annually, more than 400,000 departures, meaning more than 400,000 Nepalese are migrating out of their country, many of them to India, an average of more than 1,000 a day. Therefore, the very demographic of Nepal is being hollowed out in a way, and that is seen to be part of the crisis that has taken place in Nepal. Presumably, Rakesh, taking off from what Amitabh Mattu said, when it happened in Bangladesh, we were caught unawares, and we've seen how these protests then turned into anti-India demonstrations. Is that something you fear that could happen in Nepal? In the past, politicians of that country have also whipped up anti-India sentiment when it suits them?
Rajdeep, that was my biggest concern, and I have been talking to people in Kathmandu, and so far, I'm very reassured that nobody Oli has not had the best of relationship with the Modi government. We know that. And I thought that perhaps Oli, when, faced with these protests, might point to a foreign hand. And he has, in the past, pointed to the foreign hand being India. But this time, that has not been the case. So, in that sense, this is organic and this is homegrown. However, the ban on the social media apps was perhaps the catalyst which lit the spark in what was already a sense of burning resentment among the youth. Amitabh spoke about the youth. The median age in Nepal is 25, which means that 50% of Nepal's population is below 25. Now, that's a very, very young population. And Amitabh is right when he says that there is a huge Nepali diaspora. So if you look at Nepal's population, which is about 30 million, and if 50% is below 25, and Nepali diaspora is something like 5 million. And by the way, this does not include the Nepali who live in India, because those are not counted as diaspora. So you are looking at a huge chunk of the working population which is living outside Nepal because they can't find employment there, which is why 25% of Nepal's GDP comes from its remittances. And now that you have that demographic bulge because of and so that is why you have this Gen Z. However, the Gen Z hasn't come about just on its own. See, when you ban social media and you have such a huge population of diaspora outside, you are also stopping communication with your father or your uncle or whoever it is who's living outside. So, because all these people speak on Facebook, they communicate on Facebook, WhatsApp, etc., etc. So you've just blocked a huge communication channel for a huge section of the population to their resources, their emotional resources abroad. That is what lit the spark. And I think Oli, in his autocratic fashion, which he's been showing again and again in recent years, has just failed to see it. Sorry, yeah.
But the question comes, therefore, Amitabh Mattu, the question comes, Amitabh Mattu, given that, as I said, there seems to be now chronic instability, 9 changes of governments in the last decade, the constitution, which many thought would bring stability to Nepal, has clearly not done this. There is a tiny sliver of a class which has benefited hugely from government contracts, cronyism, but a vast majority of the people still live a very, very meager lives. Is there anything in your view that India can do at the moment? Or do we simply wait and watch to see what happens in Nepal next? Again, going back to the Bangladesh parallel, there we were seen to have put all our eggs in Sheikh Hasina's basket. Can India do anything differently in Nepal compared to Bangladesh?
I think Ambassador Sood has pointed out that there isn't still any sense that India is going to be blamed for the problems, which is very encouraging. And what you need to do to ensure that that discourse doesn't take shape is, one, wait and watch, have the strategic patience not to be immediately reactive. Secondly, I think it's important to recognize that the democratic bulge, the young people of South Asia, are going to be its most important stakeholder. So you need to engage them, offer them scholarships. I know this might be come later, but ways of engaging the young people in a manner that we haven't done so far. We have engaged with the elites because we were familiar with the elites. There was a certain relationship between Indian political actors and the Nepalese elite. But that needs to change. You need to now invest in relations with these young people. Thirdly, in terms of governance, especially e-governance, I think there are lessons that India has, best practices that can be adopted. Remember, this technology is a big genie. It's almost turning out to be a Frankenstein's monster. The ban on these social media applications was a result of a Supreme Court direction that all these applications, whether it's Meta or Alphabet, needed to set up an office in Nepal, have a grievance cell. On prima facie, not a bad idea, prima facie, completely reasonable. But none of them, neither Facebook or X or WhatsApp, has set up an office or a grievance redressal mechanism. But because there is this social media addiction, as well as the fact that you are dependent on the social media for new information, and now with WhatsApp and others and Facebook and also for remittances, therefore, the ban caused this great implosion, which was waiting to happen. You require that catalyst. But I think India could potentially, in terms of cyber governance, in terms of digital governance, given that the India stack itself offers
Right.
a model for better governance, could offer lessons to Nepal. But most importantly, I think India needs to do it not in any way, in any patronizing fashion, but being seen as a partner of not just leaders, but of the people of Nepal, because that is your constituency of the future, the young people of Nepal, not the old,
Right.
cynical leaders of the past.
One final question, Rakesh Sood. What do you think happens next? Is there a real possibility of the army choosing to take over to stabilize Nepal? Do you see an interim government of the kind we saw in Bangladesh? Or do you see fresh polls being called instantly? A quick answer.
Rajdeep, the problem is that the Gen Z that is leading this revolt, as the popular media calls it, doesn't have a leader, and we don't know what they want. They are upset with the constitution. In fact, there were a whole number of constitutional amendments that were being talked about in social media. Now, if many of these are very, very significant constitutional amendments. So therefore, given the fact that the political leaders of all the major political parties are in disgrace. I mean, tomorrow, let's say if Sher Bahadur Dyoba was to become prime minister, within 24 hours, he would be out. Or Prachanda, or so we are looking at a complete rejection of some of these guys. So I do not know whether the constitutional framework that was built over a period of 7 years, in which came into being in 2015, is going to stick or not stick. That
Right.
constitutional framework created a federal republic of Nepal. Now, if there are going to be changes in the constitution, who's going to bring about those changes? I cannot. Will there be a new constituent assembly? Will there be a new parliament? Because they're asking for dissolution of parliament. So I think that right now we are in a state of complete uncertainty and anarchy as far as Nepal is concerned. Nobody really knows because
Right.
nobody is in charge. Now, were the president at
Which
this
is
stage, were the president at this stage to choose to say, all right, first order of the day is to restore law and order, then the only institution that can be called out is the army. And then comes the question as to who
and
then
that's
gets
what's
appointed.
happened. But we don't know
No,
whether
not yet, not yet.
we
I don't think
but
the
we
army
don't
has
know
been
whether
called out
the
to restore law and order.
we don't know whether the army will actually take control.
No, the
Yes,
army
but
may
whether
not take
that will
control.
actually result in the army sort of taking over the country.
No, I don't
Right.
think the
It's one
army is
thing to
going to
take
take over
control
the
of law and
country.
order. It's another thing
You
to
can
take control
then
of the.
No, you can then ask a
Okay.
retired chief justice or somebody to form an interim government for a limited period, who can then engage in dialogue with civil society leaders, political party leaders, etc., with a view to creating a consensus on what is the way forward whether we should have a new constitution, whether, so we are in a very, very gray zone.
Let me leave it there, Rakesh Sood, because clearly we are seeing a very, very uncertain situation developing in a Himalayan republic, a country with which we share civilizational ties, borders, and a country where which we need to look at very, very carefully. Yet another country in our neighborhood is on the boil, and that does have important implications for India. Amitabh Mattu and Rakesh Sood for sharing your wisdom on the show this evening. Thank you very much. I want to turn from there to an exclusive. The India Today South Conclave concluded today in Coimbatore. Among our stellar guests on day 2 was the Karnataka Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivkumar, someone who's never far away from controversy. The latest being when he recited the RSS anthem in the Karnataka Assembly. D.K. Shivkumar, though, clarified today he has never had anything to do with the RSS. He is a proud Hindu but respects all religions. But he says he will live and die as a congressman and in fact insists that Rahul Gandhi will be the Prime Minister of the country in 2029. Let's listen in to D.K. Shivkumar speaking out on a variety of issues. Very clearly, November 20th, 2.5 years will be completed of the Karnataka government under Mr. Siddaramaiah. The buzz in Delhi and Bengaluru is that there was some kind of an arrangement, 2.5 years Mr. Siddaramaiah as Chief Minister, 2.5 years Mr. D.K. Shivkumar. Am I therefore talking to the next Chief Minister of Karnataka?
It is me and my leadership, me and my party, and me and Mr. Siddaramaiah. So my party high command is whole and soul for us. We go by their directions. Whatever they decide, we accept, we work. We have promised to the people of Karnataka, we will give a good government with good governance. That is the most important thing.
Is there a hope, an expectation? You have often been open about the fact that why should I not be considered as a chief minister? So is that a hope that you could succeed Mr. Siddaramaiah one day?
See, anyone in this world has to live on hope. Without hope, there is no life.
Few weeks ago, this happened, and I'm going to play the video, and I want you today, once and for all, to settle it. This happened in the Karnataka Assembly. Please take a look at this video, and then I want Mr. Shivkumar to respond to it. Producer, if you can play the video, please. Okay, the video was of you at the Karnataka Assembly reciting a RSS song. Immediately, it was picked upon by your rivals, BJP and in Congress, to say D.K. Shivkumar is already 1 foot in the BJP RSS. Settle it for now. Is it true that you were once in the RSS as a young man? Is it true that you are being approached by the BJP? What is the truth?
See, I'm a born congressman. I will die as a congressman. That is number one. Number two, see, I'm a political leader. I'm not a good student. I was not a graduate. I became a graduate at the age of 46. 46. When I was a final year student, I contested assembly against Mr. Devegowda. Then Rajiv Gandhi gave me a ticket. So, to enter politics, to know, first you should know yourself, your surrounding, and your enemies. Who are your enemies? So, I've been looking at various political parties. I should know what is the strength of BJP. The strength of BJP, it doesn't have any ideology. The ideology has been picked by the RSS. What is RSS? How they are doing? What is communist? Or what other regional parties are there? What is Janata Dal? The anti or the dissidents or any other issues, the Janata Dal came to existence in Karnataka. Then later, these fractions then converted into BJP. So I should know who is my strength. That is, I know how RSS is grooming the BJP. Earlier, only two leaders were there in this country, Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Advani. How they pick it up. All these things I had to make a study to see that. That is how I was so confident when the results were supposed to come. I remember your anchor in Panipat, when I was going to Bharat Jodo Yatra, she asked me, what you are telling? I said, you take it on record. 136 is my number. You also came to me. I said to you also, you Rajdeep, you go ahead, 136 will be my number. That was my number. This is my number. 223, 28, again I will come to you. That will be, you also will tell, again Congress party will come to Karnataka again and you will congratulate me that day.
So you have become a pollster. You are saying you got 136 in the last election. You predicted it. You're predicting a Congress victory in 2028. But let me settle this. You're saying never a question of having anything to do with the RSS.
See,
you will not become an Eknath Shinde-like figure if you are denied chief ministership.
It is not the question. There is no point. No one has looked at me also. Sometime they might have looked at. See, someone is at a ripening stage. When fruit become, when a mango, it is green, no one will throw stones. One, it will be ripe for someone. They feel that some might try it. I don't tell no to it. But there is no question. My loyalty to the Gandhi family is different. It is the Gandhi family has kept this party and the country united. See, I had a touring theatre at my younger days. I named it after Indira Gandhi. The day she died, I named my theatre as Indira Gandhi, Indiraji Chitra Mandir. That is it.
So you are a born congressman, you will die as a congressman?
Of course, see, even for S.M. Krishna, before leaving the Congress party before early day, Ahmad Bhai called me, Ghulam Nabi Azad Kayamani. I went, no one picked the phone. He was not. I just tried to pick the phone and give to him and made him to speak. I wanted him to die as a congressman. That was my desire. Because Congress party, for me also, chief minister is not important. I have built, see, when I came here, you see thousands of people receiving me, speaking to me and all. I don't want to be, for my selfish reason, I don't want to be. Power comes, nothing can escape out of me. It will come, but I have to do hard work. Hard work will definitely pay, and I am confident on that.
Then why did you have to apologize for this?
No, see, some of them say, I don't want someone to be little bit, create nuisance and all. My ego is not important. Ego is not important. So, okay, let all of them be happy. They feel they doubt, they create controversy, and the biggest enemy is the media again. They will try to, see, I just try to point it out. I was pulling the BJP leg. What do you know BJP? I know better BJP than you, I said. Because I have studied everything. I have studied Chanakya Niti, I have studied Mahabharata, I have studied Ramayana, I have studied various issues in political angle. I know about Baswana, I know about Allama Prabhu, and all things I have studied because it is very much needed. Though I was not a well-educated man, in the later I thought that at the young age I went. I have been in the assembly last 8 terms. 8 terms I am there. I have to know things, no.
But therefore, are you blaming the media for creating this constant Siddharamaiah versus Shiv Kumar battle?
Of course, otherwise they will not have any other news, no. They have to play and sing, they have to create themselves.
No, but the MLAs themselves openly come and say, we want Shiv Kumar as CM. Someone says, no, we want Siddharamaiah as CM.
That is all there. Some of them will have likings, what to do. Some liked, some doesn't dislike.
Is that the big problem in the Congress? Too many factions?
No faction. There is only one faction, that is the Indian National Congress faction.
I want to put one more national question to you. Dharamstala. Dharamstala, when what happened in Dharamstala, there was this entire controversy created of 17 burial sites. The temple was being attacked. There were charges being made. Now it turns out that this could be a big hoax, a conspiracy is what the opposition is saying to discredit the temple. What is your view? Do you believe that this whole Dharamstala controversy was created, manufactured?
See, my high command asked me, I don't want to disclose the name of my high command. One day when I was traveling, they asked me about this question. I said, you don't involve. This is all hope. It is all bogus. Let Congress party any point of time interfere because I know Dharmasthala well. It is an internal squabbling between the BJP and the RSS.
Dharamsthala is an internal squabble between BJP and RSS.
Yes, I'm on record. 100% I'm record. If you want, I will give the documentation, I will give the statements, I will give the speeches of then the BJP president, the BJP ministers of the district, and the Hindu Parishad, the RSS leaders, all of them.
Okay.
All I am telling you this on record on a national channel.
You have an SIT, then the SIT should expose this.
Of course, it will do. It is on the job. We will have to do. We have to share to the country. This is not a Dharmasthala problem. It has become a national problem. It is the belief. See, I know Virendra Hegde and Dharmasthala. That is, it is on faith. People believe of that. There is a court. Still the court is running there.
Okay. You're making a very important claim. You're claiming that this is an internal battle between the BJP and RSS, which is reflected in Dharamsthala.
See, none of them, they wanted this to happen. They thought that something will come out. None of them, till I said in the assembly floor of the house that there is a big conspiracy, no one opened their mouth. Now everyone is trying to take the claim of it. They are trying. Again, a group goes there to do politics and they goes to someone XYZ house.
Do you really believe that the Congress can return to power in Karnataka in 28? Because Karnataka has seen every 5 years government changing. Over the last 25 years, governments have changed every 5 years. Do you really believe that the people of Karnataka are still trusting the Congress party?
See, in politics, nothing is permanent.
Nothing is permanent.
Nothing is permanent. See, people of Karnataka are very mature people. You see, at the time of Ramakrishna Hegde, there was a big, in the parliament election, when Rajiv Gandhi came to power, he took a decision. He dissolved for a clear mandate. The party helped him. He ruled for 7-8 years. 2 terms he was there. Devarajaras, again, he did it. I am sure the way we are working, people have confidence with us on the state. You take it from me, 2028, you will have a Congress government.
2028 Congress government, what about 2029 Lok Sabha? Because last time in Karnataka in 2024, BJP got more seats than the Congress in Karnataka. You were reduced to single digits. Are we very clear that people want Narendra Modi as Prime Minister, BJP at power in the center, Congress may be in the state?
See, sun will rise and sun will set. There is a time for everyone, the era of everyone. I think Narendra Modi, I don't want to talk much on national politics on this issue, but I am very confident Rahul Gandhi will be the next Prime Minister of this country in 2029.
People say, oh, DK Shivkumar was seen with Amit Shah at some Isha Foundation function. DK Shivkumar is going to a temple. Why you went to the Kumbh Mela, you praised Yogi Adityanath for arrangements. You are a deeply religious man, am I correct?
Of course. See, my name is DK Shivakumar. Shiva Kumar. Can I change my name? See, here, Chief Minister, Mr. Stalin is here. I think even his father said that we don't believe in God and anything we heard. But in this state, how many temples? How can Tamil Nadu survive without temples and religion? It is not possible.
And there is a difference between being a Hindu and Hindutva.
See, being a Hindu, I respect all religion. It is their faith. See, I can't stop some Christians or minority leaders coming to a Hindu temple. They can. We go to mosques, we go to churches, we go to gurudwaras. They pray Chamundeshwari, they pray this one. It is their belief.
So you are a proud Hindu, but you will accommodate every other religion, live and let live,
Of
tolerance
course.
and mutual respect.
Yes. It is their belief. Some love Buddhism, some love Jainism, some love the hard work of Jainism, Christianity. I respect everyone. But 25, 30 years back, I met Sonia Gandhi at the time of Ugadi festival. Ugadi. I met her one day after she became the president. Myself and three of them. They were festive. In their house, they were doing Ugadi. In Karnataka, there was Ugadi festival. I said, in our village, Ugadi festival is there. Myself, my wife, my young daughter, we had gone to meet her. In their house also, they were doing Ugadi festival. They said in Kashmir, and they're also doing festival. She came to, at Bharat Joda Yatra time, she came to Mysore. At Dasara time, she went to a Durga temple. She just took a small MLA, local MLA, and without informing anyone, she went to a Durga temple. She prayed there at the time of Dasara. She went back to her room.
Because there is a controversy in Karnataka. Banu Mushtaq has been invited for the Chamundeshwari temple during Dashera.
BJP, they are just saying politics. They don't have anything to do now. They can't bring 1 rupee to Karnataka. No MPs were raising their voice. They have not supported anything. They could not take any single decision to be helped to Karnataka.
DK Shiv Kumar there speaking on a variety of issues. You can catch the entire conversation on our YouTube channel and all the conversations on the India Today South Conclave. When we return, we'll turn to someone who has finally broken the radio silence among cricketers over the stampede that took place in Bengaluru in June following RCB's IPL victory. Dinesh Karthik tells us just what that stampede did to the psyche of the cricketers. Back in a moment. You're watching the news today. News without the noise. Now, ever since that terrible stampede took place outside the Chinnaswamy Stadium in Bengaluru after RCB's IPL triumph with 10 people dying, cricketers have been mostly silent over what happened that fateful day. But one of them now, RCB's mentor and former India cricketer, Dinesh Karthik, has broken the radio silence over that issue. He spoke to us at the India Today South Conclave and expressed the feelings of the players after they heard the news of the stampede. Listen in. Can I ask you though, that it all didn't end as well as it should have because of the stampede that took place in Bengaluru. As players, when you look back at it, should it have been done differently? The fact that there seemed to be this over-enthusiasm on the part of the fans, on the part of the organizers, on the part of the franchise. You go and hold a parade and eventually it ends in a stampede. Did that affect you all as players when you heard about it?
So we were in Bangalore, and you got to understand that we were told to go to an event, we went, and then when we got news, we were sent back. I don't think we even understood what had happened. It was beyond us. You got to understand, we are just sportsmen, we are playing a sport, and something like this happens, you just don't know how to react. And that was my first instinct, like, people losing lives. Could it change? I really wish it could, because it completely changed the mood. Even now, speaking about it, when you showed me the pictures, I almost wanted to say, sir, it's great to see, but, let's move on. Because the aftertaste that it left, there's been absolute radio silence from us players. And it was, as you would know, RCB is such a well-supported franchise, and it completely finished whatever our celebrations could have been. So it is arguably one of the saddest things that I have been, I feel even wrong to say I've been part of, because I cannot even empathize what those parents and the families must go through. But all I can say is, I just hope that in some way that we can, repay them in whatever way possible. And these are events that's happened, in some football teams as well, in different ways. And it's very hard to digest and accept, honestly. to have known that you were there and thereabouts and things like this happen, it's very unfair, and all I can say is,
Dinesh Karthik speaking on the Bengaluru Stampede. Now remember, the Asia Cup starts tomorrow and India kicks off its campaign tomorrow. One person who will be missing is Shreyas Iyer. Dinesh Karthik in that interview also strongly batted for Shreyas Iyer to be included in the Indian squad. Listen in. So can I headline it and say Dinesh Karthik would like to see Shreyas Iyer in the World T20 team? India's World T20 team?
If that is what you've got after me saying all this, I think that would be a pretty unfair headline, because after the squad is put, they also put 5 other standbys. Now, in that 5 standbys, also Shreyas Iyer wasn't there, and that didn't sit well with me, which basically means they're not looking at him for the near future, and that would mean to the World Cup, because India finished the Asia Cup, they have a couple of bilaterals, and after which they have the World Cup, which I feel is very unfair, and I think there is no way that he shouldn't have missed those 5 players. He should have been part of the conversations in the lead up to the T20 World Cup, and I really wish he makes it to that T20 World Cup because he deserves it.
Okay, as I said, Dinesh Karthik, just one of the many stellar speakers that we had at the India Today South Conclave that concluded in Coimbatore today. You can catch all the conversations on India Today's YouTube channel and other platforms. For now, from the entire team here, thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe. Good night. Shubhratri. Jai Hind. Namaskar.